In this part, we introduce a more practical approach to solve the linear programming using Excel's solver tool. First of all, we need to set up the linear programming model in Excel appropriately. So we have to configure 4 types of cells in Excel. Changing cells are the places to put the decision variables. In those cells, you don't need to input anything. Excel will input a number. Excel will input a number there after solving the problem. Target cell is the place you put the objective function. When you configure the formula in the target cell, you need to refer to the changing cells according to the objective function. The next 2 cells, reference cells and the constraint cells, are related to the constraints. Reference cells are for you to configure the formula according to the constraint function. They are usually connected to the changing cells. Constraint cells are for you to input the constraint constants. Let's use the max and the multi-max example to illustrate these cells. Before configuring the linear programming model, make sure you have all the input data ready. In max and multi-max example, we have 3 groups of relevant inputs: testing usage and capacity, assembly usage and capacity, finally price. Changing cells are for the decision. We need only 2 of them for the production quantity of max and multi-max separately. There is 1 target cell for the objective function. In target cell, we calculate the total profit by referring to the changing cells. Remember, we want to maximize the target. For constraints, we need 2 reference cells and 2 constraint cells. In reference cells, we calculate the used hours by referring to the changing cells. In constraint cells, we input the capacity constants. Remember, beside the resource-driven constraints, there are also non-negative boundary constraints. We don't need to put them in the spreadsheet. Instead, we can specify them in solver. Okay, solver is an Excel add-in which helps to solve the equation or the optimization problems. To use solver for linear programming, you need to tell Excel where the target cell is and how you want to optimize it, minimize it or maximize it. You also need to tell Excel where the changing cells are. Then you need to add the constraints by indicating the reference cells and the constraint cells, as well as how reference cells should be compared to the constraint cells, smaller or larger or equal, etc. More importantly, you need to tell Excel this is a linear programming model, so the solving method must be simplex LP. Now, let's turn to Excel file to see how exactly the LP model is set up and solved in Excel.